How were things allowed to get as bad as they did? That is a key question in the living conditions at Ashland Manor, an apartment complex in Toledo. But what I found was that the company that owns the complex has a history. In these photos I obtained from the city of Toledo, you see just how unaddressed sanitary issues were. It's enough to make any resident frustrated with their apartment complex. But what results in something like this happening? My search was vast. It started with a call to the office. I'm calling regarding some residents' concerns that were brought up recently about the conditions of the apartments, and I was wondering if the apartment complex had any statement regarding that.
No, I do not. Thank you.
Thank you, and
Thank you. You have a good day.
You too, bye-bye.
Thank you.
As you just saw, I attempted to get comment from Ashland Manor via the main phone line, a 567 number, 567 being an area code here, of course. There I was quickly rushed off the phone. But how about the corporate office? Let's see how that went.
Thank you for calling Rhodium Capital Advisors. If you know your party's extension, you may dial it at any time. To speak with the operator, please press 0.
And what makes this unfortunate is the fact that I had plenty of questions about how this property is run. It would have been a great opportunity for management to step up and answer the public's questions. But it looks like we're not getting those answers, at least from them. Toledo Mayor Wade Kapsakavich came to a conclusion I witnessed firsthand. It is difficult to figure out who exactly is in charge. Why? Because Ashland Manor isn't locally owned. In fact, it's owned by Lucas Urban Holdings, LLC, which sounds local, but actually lists an address for One World Trade Center in New York City.
Among the problems we have in this country is that facilities like Ashland Manor are often owned by shadow LLCs that exist for the sole purpose of making it difficult to figure out who's in charge. These phantom LLCs, it is too difficult to figure out who really owns these properties.
The mayor says he can understand how, with the portfolio of many units, how things can slip through the cracks. However, that doesn't mean he will tolerate the conditions residents find themselves in. And when it seemed as if things couldn't get any more sketchy, a discovery of the company's previous run-in with the government in a city not too far from here, a city called Cincinnati, where WCPO reports a property owner pleaded guilty to federal mortgage fraud. He too was based in New York City and received help from conspirators that included Rhodium Capital Advisors employees. It was a scheme that aimed to, through fraud, obtain loans to acquire properties. As Ashland Manor is inspected by the Department of Housing and Urban Development, it was important to see the records of those inspections, which showed the complex was passing. But how? And were things as bad when these inspections occurred as they are now? Questions I sought answers to from HUD, which I'm awaiting a follow-up from. But in the meantime, Toledo's mayor is considering the possibility of the city running its own inspections, as he too works to get answers from the feds.
But I even had about a minute or so with President Biden himself, actually, and I had a very brief conversation with him, essentially just letting him know that there was a problem in Toledo, that HUD was aware of it, but I just encouraged him to, keep the pressure on HUD.
Sorry, I didn't get that. Please try again. Thanks.
And sure, HUD claims some level of responsibility here. However, these conditions are in Toledo city limits. And this kind of reminds me of what was going on at Greenbelt Place. There was just a lot that was happening that people didn't know about on the outside. And obviously the city had to step in there as well. And so what role does the city of Toledo play in these types of situations?
The issues are almost identical. It's very, very similar. And I think the role the city played in Greenbelt is the same role it's playing now. And God forbid the same role that we'd play in the future if another incident like this is discovered, and that is to be loud and to advocate.
And Kapsakavich says that could include charges against owners if needed, a trip to housing court, and as mentioned previously, additional inspections, this time run by the city. I'll keep on this story and ensure all parties involved are held accountable, even if they're hard to find, as Ashland Manor could just be the tip of the iceberg. Reporting in Toledo, I'm Jaden Jefferson.